Alright, so we are back into another Dragon Ball Super Card Game video. This one is kind of a follow-up to the last one that I made. I've been making these a good amount, pretty much every set, and I did one for set 6, and now set 7 kind of has all the good format-based decks or meta decks out there. This is not the end-all be-all guide, but we'll kind of give you some insights into what should be in your sideboard. And of course, subscribe if you're new, and let me know what else I have missed, if I do any, because this is probably going to be posted sometime tonight, i.e. Friday or Saturday morning, and I'll be on a plane to Orlando, and that kind of brings me to a special sort of announcement, which is our team. So if you didn't know, because I didn't tell anybody, and I was supposed to go through and tell people since like Pasadena, but I haven't. Technically, we're a team now, so this is our roster. I was supposed to do a whole thing, a whole effects-based sort of presentation, but I didn't, because I don't have any time, so I kind of used everybody's Discord picture instead. So you guys can hit up any of us within the Discord in the description below to say hi or whatever it may be. And of course, most of us, I would say me, Devin, Nox, Legend, and Joel, and Badman will be in Orlando this weekend. So if you do watch this video by then, or by the time that you are going to the event, definitely say hi. I know I'm sure we'll be cool with that. And of course, as you can see from going left to right, other than myself, we have Eggman. You already know him. The guy, the main Egg from his own YouTube channel. Then we have Egg Fryer, which has been MIA for a little bit, but he is kind of Eggman's right-hand man, I guess. I'm not entirely sure, but we do have Devin. If you haven't seen him already, he was featured on the channel before playing Pan and going undefeated in one of the regionals and going top 16. An annoyance, but oh well. Then we have Nox, who is Josh. He was just on the channel with the Black Shenron Overwhelm deck, and as well as the Kid Goku, the red one. Man, went top 16 with that one in the San Diego celebrations, I do want to say. And the one and only Judge Manny, our judge of the Discord, RIP Zahook, the main man for any question. Then we have Legend, the one who just topped one of the most recent regional with Kid Goku. I forget which one, probably a couple events ago, a few events ago. Then we have Joel, the untapped mod and mod of our Discord, one of them anyway. Not much to say about him, right? And then Badman, the person who's supposed to be making videos was still is not. The man who was wrongfully accused of his sleeves at Nationals. I'm so sorry. And of course me. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, let me know. Our jersey is below. If you see us on that or wearing that, there you go. Come find me. Anyway, let's get on to the cards. So these are some of the first ones I want to talk about, going into the generic options first. This one kind of goes into or focusing on aggro mitigation, and really it's sort of like a generic answer for a lot of different things. I'm going to go through a few different specified like format-based decks or meta decks, but this kind of covers a lot with Kami just paying 2 and drawing 1, replacing itself. If you play it the first turn and they don't get rid of it, and the second turn they build a board and then you KO everything, or they misplay, or if you have 3 energy and you pay the full 3 energy, you can board clear. Just make sure that you are aware of the 4 or less requirement. And then we have Spree Kind of Time, which is probably one of my favorite cards now, simply because she does draw you 1 on their turn, and for a lot of non-aggro or control decks, everything can attack for 2 or less. Of course, we had Crisis Crusher and the Unexpected Turn. A lot of people kind of are a little iffy about the rulings for Unexpected Turn, as I understand. If you meet that requirement, which I think the DBS page just released a statement on it, I have to go find it. As long as you meet the 3 or more battle cards with two or more costs, you can use the card basically and warp everything 2 or less, and as well as the card that's being played. Is it going to work on the second timing? Kind of still up in the air. If you guys can link that in the description, let me know. But if you are a control-based deck, most of these cards, or all these cards, really should be in your sideboard, or at least one of them. Then we have generic options for removal. I think Dimension Banisher, and as well as Mass and the one on the right, are pretty much the best options right now for really any deck that can run Overwhelm. Not all decks can or should run Overwhelm, like a Wish deck, or like Majin Buu, or the Kaba deck, etc. But you can use that to your advantage, knowing that they can't use those, so keep that in mind. They can't side those. But both of them, with the spot removal for Banisher Fu and being a 0 cost 5k and double strike, and then the Mass Saiyan can pretty much warp anything 5 or less, anything without barrier that is, and blocker. And then the Fully Unleashed still is a pretty good card. Like, honestly, you should consider this for a lot of big boys if you're not running the 1-drop extra cards, like the 1-drop blue card that returns a hand, or the Father Son Kamehameha. This is a pretty good alternative for a 25,000 double striker, or 25,000 that you can add double strike Kai as a game winner, and for free. All right, moving on for more generic options, the answers for anyone. Basically, the Dark Power Mass Saiyan, and in tandem with Tau. Basically, this tackles chain attack. This tackles Kaba, in which it forces them to use or drop 2 for Planet Sadala, or the 2-drop Kale, because they both are non-keyword skills, autos, in which plays a 15k or less. Zeno, of course, gets affected because they have the pitch 2 afterwards, and really anything that basically is affected by this. You can even even use this with like Shenron Ramp, because the Whis, the 4-drop Whis, if they will piece it out at 4 energy and then add an energy, it still counts because it's a 10 or less. I added in Time Ruler Toa because I think this is sort of like, it's like one of those cards that people should be reminded. Like, if you are, which I'm going to talk about in the Toa matchup, but if you know that they have a lot of cards that are, that doesn't have removal but are 2 or less, you should definitely side this in. I think this is a pretty good card, again, against Toa with the time regulators, and as well as the U6 combo or hit, and U6 cards that rely on them having the card on their field, which this is pretty important to have, that is. Mercenary Tau. So this one is a good counter to Dark Power. If you know they're going to be signing in Dark Power, you should play this, especially if they're green or yellow leader, so that way you can play it for 1, and then every time they Dark Power you, as in you pitch 2 cards, they have to warp 3 on basically their turn. So I mean, those are the things, like, you don't have to really worry about, well, you can worry about the Dark Power, but if they have just 1 on their side and you can just have this on your side, it's a lot more effective. And of course, TN, I do not think people should sleep on Janemba, and as well as any other blue leader like Hirudegan, like the blue yellow Hirudegan that's running around right now. It's pretty important to have. All right, so as far as specific matchups, I'm not going to go into detail for all of them, but I do want to give some reminders as far as some of these cards that we do have available in these recent sets, and as well as other sets that we may have not considered. This one, or at least these, are basically available in every color but black. And black has the counter Vegeta, which is pretty good, as in, like, you can counter if they counter, of course, and then you can return 3 battle cards into your deck, which is pretty good against Janemba. But this specifically is good against Janemba, and as well as Shenron. And the reason for that is because if you look as far as the effect, I don't know why this one is pre-released, but we'll take a look at that one. It says when you combo this card, when your leader card is blue or red or green or yellow, you choose 1 card from your hand and place it in the drop area. Yes, it is a -2, but it can be pretty crucial because you can choose 1 of the cards, if you're using the first effect, in your hand and then use the auto. So if you choose a battle card with 3 or less, or 3 or more, and 35 power or less in your drop area and place it in your bottom of your deck in any order, then you can go ahead and control it. This is really good, for instance, like combo decks like Baby, in which you can use the the first effect, in which you pitch the 4-drop Baby, or if you're playing against a number, they mill you out the 4-drop Baby, and you choose all 3 of them, or 2 or 1, and then place it in the bottom of your deck. So that way, when you actually do Union Absorb, you have a target for sure. And they go to the bottom of the deck, and you don't shuffle, so that's really important. The other part of it is that you choose 1 battle card in your opponent's drop area, and you return it to the opponent's deck, and then your opponent shuffles the deck. It's pretty important and gets Shenron and Wish decks, in which you combo, and then you choose 1 of their world peace targets or any other desired target, like the Pleas of Salvation, and then you return it to your deck. And now they are either forced to play another one or combo another one, place it in the drop, whatever it may be, or try to draw into it after they shuffle their deck. So very, very important to realize that. Okay, now we have all of the specified colored combos. Again, these should be obvious, but it is a hit or miss when it comes to sideboards. Again, against Shenron and just in general, like if you have a one of in these or any of these in your deck, they're actually pretty useful. I think the red one is probably the least useful. Like all these other ones are energy cost of 1 to return the hand, which is good against U6 yet again. Energy cost of 1 and KO it, and energy cost of 1 is switch to rest mode. All of these are pretty good. Even this one against U6 is probably pretty good as well. But all of these can be activated from the drop area if you pitch a card, a red card, green card, whatever color, respective color, and then activate and pay the energy. So you pay 1, pitch a card, and then activate this from the drop, and then you can't use it for the duration of turn. The reason why the auto is there is because you can have multiples, or you can use it for the turn and then use it again, and I don't think that would be really fair, right? Very, very good against Kaioken, you know, Gogeta, anything that you're going to go against a big bad. All right. Some more Shenron stuff. Toa for specifically Gogeta, maybe even Victory Strike if you get to that point, slash Haida Mastery. If you do go against Haida Mastery, just be aware that their auto will go after the counterplay window. So like you're paying two energy, and then you just, you know, you scoop because that's whack, because it's gonna get tapped down. If it goes against Haida Mastery. If you go against like ramp Shenron or something like that, it's not that bad. Then we have Force Ejection. The cool thing about this is that you don't have to overwhelm in order to use this effect. This one says if your energy cost is less than theirs when you charged, the specify, this is why the ruling is the way that it is that when you charge, you have 4, they have 6, you then can use this card in order to pop energy into the warp. So very effective card. They're the Piccolo, the 2-drop Piccolo does the same. You can use that in any blue deck, so it's not that big of a deal, and it's pretty cool. And then we have Dende, which is very good with the Toki Toki engine, but at the same time it is 3 energy to pop 1 of their energy. If you're going against Ramp Shenron, this is probably a better option if you can hard cast it, so that way you can just use it every single turn. This one you're using it for 1 and you're delaying them 1 energy, so yeah. And then Chomper the Trickster. So if you're using blue, yellow, or technically if you're using any color, any multicolor card in your energy, and then you charge it yellow, you can use this card. And then you choose the battle card. You play this card, you choose a battle card, their battle card, and barriers, which is rest mode, and then draw 1 card. This is probably one of the best cards coming out the sets. And it's only a rare, so I think you should probably consider it. The other part of it is that interactions like Chain Zeno, you can rest the Zeno, and then the auto goes into pending, and then you draw 1 after the Zeno effect. So you start at 6, and they start at 5, or they start at 6 if they are swinging or playing Pan. Same thing for the Gogeta, so you start with 4 instead. All right, moving on to the U6 stuff. So Dark Power, yet again, just like I was saying, is affected by the Kaba, the Planet Sadala, the KL, etc. Then you have an Unexpected Turn. So this one's kind of finicky. It has to be 2 or more when they play 1 costs and more. You know, they feel the board, that sort of thing. So it's just kind of hard to use this on the right time, but it is something to consider as far as the sideboard. And then we have Mass Sand, which is really good because all the cards, like the 1-drops, if they fill the board with 1-drops and they don't evolve, you can go ahead and use Mass Sand to wipe the board because they can't be KO'd, but they can be warped. So that's really good. And then Jacko. I know this is a kind of a far-fetched one, but at least I can kind of consider it, simply because this card, and as well as this card over here, returns 1 card from the combo area and then send it back to their hand. It would be good if they send it back to the drop area, like I think the Krillin, the 1-drop Krillin, the barrier one. I do believe that one does do that if you're playing green, but this one is not too bad because now you can prevent the evolve, and you can probably negate after that because now you have the information that they're going to be evolving, and you can just go ahead and negate. It's pretty easy peasy. And then Haru, like the Kaba, and as well as well, U6 in general, just depends on what you're going against. If they have Cobalus, if you're going against Broly U6, or if they have Frost Deadly Poison, if you have 3 open, you probably don't want to play this card. But it's super, super good if they don't have any of that, because now you can go ahead and Haru, untap 4, pay 3 if you have only 3 energy open, and then untap 1, and then also feel your drop area for overwhelm. You already know what it is. It's not a new card. It's critical. Come on now. And then Spirit Sword. So this one is blue only, but it does return 2 or less to their owner's hand. So it is kind of a weird card in the way of just like the all too easy card, in which you return it to their hand and it can just play it. Technically, that's not really what you want to do, but it does prevent some plays. So if you're going to be returning a card in a crucial moment, like a Kefla Union Absorb, then that is probably the time to do it. So that way you can negate the 4-drop and then return the 2 or less, and that way when they evolve or try to evolve, they don't have a target and they have to waste the energy to do it again. I would say that's just a thought. All right, a couple other ones as far as the Toa matchup. If you're gonna be playing red, or just in general being aggressive, a Double Strike Kai or Champa should be in your side or main, because it is something to consider when you're trying to go for game. Like, let's say you have a Triple Striker battle card, they remove Triple Strike and they tap out, and then you swing with leader, and then now you have a Champa Double Strike. You know the drill. This is not crazy stuff, but I still see kind of the same thing. So if anything, consider it. It is very good, not only in Toa, but against Toa, just in aggression in general. The reason why I put out the Caulifla is because if they awaken the time that they Union Absorb, and then put out the Mira, and they think they're safe as far as just having 1 energy open to remove keyword skills, you can now just go ahead and just play the Caulifla if you have yellow, of course, take a life, and then switch that card to rest mode, so that way you can prevent anything as far as that goes. Then we have Foreseeing Hint. Yeah, he's kind of not that great in this format. I think he's gonna have a comeback sometime or another. The only reason why I put this out is because Toa doesn't really have an answer for Foreseeing Hint. She just has to take the L, because you play it and you see the hand, and now you can take away the Union Absorb targets, you can take away the mirrors, etc. Especially if they have a lower hand size. It's really good to do that, and then that way you can buy you a turn, especially going to turn 5 or 6 energy. Wow, 5 or 6 energy. It buys you enough time to actually do the things that you need to do. And then we finally have the Kamba, the Revoker. If you didn't realize, this card is kind of a weird one. This one is a counterattack, and then you play this card, leader card is yellow, you choose one of their opponent's battle cards and negate it for the duration of the turn. This is really good in a lot of very specific instances. The reason why I put this up for Toa is because if they swing with the 5-drop Deflector, the one that has a deflect that you Union Absorb with, and they don't use Union Absorb, let's say they're trying to go for crit, you can counterattack and then remove their Union Absorb, and then that way you can kind of stop that play and then buy you another turn and prevent your hand getting warped 3 cards. So it's an interesting tech. I'd say, again, if you're playing U6, if you're playing yellow, whatever it may be, it's probably a pretty good option to watch out for. All right, that's it. I think I missed a lot, but what did I miss? Let me know in the comments below, because there are a lot of cards, not only in this last set, but in general. Like, it is crazy how much we have now, and we're only gonna have more. Like, we're probably gonna be up to set 10 maybe in January, February. So I'm ready for it, but it's hard to keep up with. If anything, help me out and let me know in the comments below. Until then, subscribe if you're new. I will see you in the next one. Later.